Have you ever witnessed something so cringeworthy, so utterly disrespectful, that you physically felt the secondhand embarrassment? Like, you wanted to sink into the ground and disappear on behalf of the person making a complete fool of themselves? I'm not talking about a minor social faux pas. I'm talking about a full-blown international incident level of cringe. I saw it happen firsthand, and it involved a drunken American tourist, a Royal Guardsman, and a whole lot of stunned onlookers. You might think you know where this is going, the typical ugly American story. But trust me, the real story, it's not that simple. It's about respect, tradition, and the unexpected consequences of acting like a complete idiot. And you absolutely do not want to miss what happened. It was a beautiful, sunny day in London. I was visiting Buckingham Palace, like every other tourist, hoping to catch a glimpse of the changing of the guard. The atmosphere was buzzing. Kids waving Union Jacks, people jostling for the best photo spots, the general excitement of being in such an iconic location. And there they were, the Royal Guardsmen, standing perfectly still in their red coats and bearskin hats. They're like living statues, symbols of British history and tradition. I've always been fascinated by the Guardsmen. The discipline, the dedication, the sheer unflappability of them, it's incredible. They're trained to withstand anything, extreme weather, hecklers, even physical provocation, without breaking their composure. It's a level of self-control I can only dream of. And then he arrived. I'll call him Brad, because, well, he looked like a Brad. He was probably in his late 30s, wearing a ridiculously loud Hawaiian shirt, cargo shorts, and a Make America Great Again hat that looked like it had been through a war. And he was loud. He was chanting USA, USA, at the top of his lungs, beer sloshing from a plastic cup in his hand. My initial reaction was a mixture of amusement and annoyance. Okay, another obnoxious tourist. We've all seen them. But then, it got worse. Much worse. Brad started zeroing in on one particular guardsman. I later learned his name was Sergeant Thomas Harrow. Sergeant Harrow was the epitome of stoicism, tall, ramrod straight, his expression completely unreadable. He was like a figure carved from stone. Brad, on the other hand, was the complete opposite. He was staggering around, slurring his words, and generally making a spectacle of himself. He started taunting Sergeant Harrow, trying to get him to react. "Hey, buddy, smile for the camera," he yelled. "What? Are you too good to talk to us? Come on, man. Give us a wave." The crowd around me started to tense up. People were exchanging uneasy glances, whispering to each other. This was clearly going to go south fast. And it did. Brad started throwing coins at Sergeant Harrow's feet. "Come on, big guy. Dance for us," he slurred. "Is that all you do? Stand there like a statue?" I felt my stomach clench. This wasn't just disrespectful. It was cruel. To treat someone with such blatant disregard, someone who was clearly just doing their job, a job that demanded incredible discipline and self-control, it was infuriating. And then the unthinkable happened. Brad, in a moment of drunken idiocy that I still can't quite comprehend, decided to try to ride Sergeant Harrow. Like a horse, he actually charged at the guardsman, yelling yeehaw, and tried to leap onto his back. I gasped. Everyone around me gasped. It was like watching a slow-motion train wreck. You knew it was going to be bad, but you couldn't look away. But Sergeant Harrow wasn't a statue. He was a highly trained soldier, and he reacted with lightning-fast reflexes. He took a single step back, and with a voice that boomed across the courtyard, he barked, "Step away. Now." The sound was so unexpected, so commanding, that it literally stopped Brad in his tracks. He froze mid-stumble, his drunken grin replaced with a look of stunned confusion, and then the crowd erupted. Not in laughter, but in applause. Applause for Sergeant Harrow, for his restraint, for his professionalism, for his unwavering defense of his duty and his country's honor. A police officer, who had been making his way through the crowd, finally reached Brad. He grabbed him by the arm and started to lead him away. Brad didn't resist. He looked ashamed, defeated. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Before the officer could escort Brad away, Sergeant Harrow did something that no one expected. He took a step forward, and he spoke. Not in anger, not in reprimand, with a quiet dignity that was even more powerful than his earlier command. "This is not a game," he said, his voice low but clear. "You dishonor yourself and your country with such behavior." The silence that followed was deafening. Even the birds seemed to stop chirping. Brad, who just moments before had been the epitome of boorish arrogance, was now a picture of utter humiliation. He mumbled an apology, but it was barely audible. The officer led him away, and the crowd dispersed, buzzing with a mixture of disbelief, anger, and admiration for Sergeant Harrow. I later learned that a video of the incident went viral. It sparked a huge debate online about respect for other cultures, about the responsibilities of tourists, about the limits of acceptable behavior, and it made me think. Think about the pressures that Royal Guardsmen face, day in and day out. Think about the importance of respecting traditions, even if you don't understand them. Think about the power of a single act of disrespect to damage a person's and a country's reputation. Did you know that, according to a study by the British Tourist Authority, negative encounters with tourists can have a significant impact on a country's image? A single bad experience can deter future visitors and damage the local economy. It's not just about being polite. It's about recognizing the impact of our actions on others. The report found that negative encounters were mentioned in approximately 15% of reviews about attractions in the UK. This might not sound huge, but consider there are millions of reviews. And what about the mental health of the guardsmen themselves? Imagine standing for hours on end in all kinds of weather, having to endure taunts and provocations from ignorant tourists. It takes an incredible toll. A study by the British Army found that guardsmen experience significantly higher levels of stress and anxiety than soldiers in other roles. Sergeant Harrow's response wasn't just about defending his own honor. It was about defending the honor of his regiment, his country, and a centuries-old tradition. And he did it with grace, dignity, and a level of self-control that I will never forget. This incident wasn't just about a drunken tourist making a fool of himself. It was about something much bigger. It was about respect, responsibility, and the power of human dignity. It was a lesson, not just for Brad, but for all of us. I left Buckingham Palace that day with a renewed appreciation for the Royal Guardsmen and a deep sense of shame for the behavior of my fellow countrymen. I also left with a determination to be a better traveler, a more respectful visitor, a more mindful human being. This story is a reminder that our actions have consequences, that even seemingly small acts of disrespect can have a ripple effect. And it's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful response is not anger or retaliation, but quiet dignity and unwavering resolve. I left feeling inspired, and the story really stuck with me. So, what do you think? What would you have done in that situation? Have you ever witnessed something similar? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe. There are so many more stories out there that need to be told. Stories that challenge us to be better, to do better, to treat each other with respect and compassion. Your support means everything. Let's spread a little more understanding and empathy in the world, one story at a time.